Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Thursday, April 21st. So the moon is now in Capricorn energy. Of course, we have that shift late last night, and we're starting the day off with the sun in Taurus, an earth sign, the moon in Capricorn, another earth sign, which means that we are going to be down to earth. We're going to be earthy. We're going to be in our physical bodies. We're going to be focused on our physical circumstances. The moon in Capricorn, of course, very mature, being ruled over by Saturn, the Lord of Karma, very focused on the tough love life lessons, on the weight of the responsibilities, the roles that we have on our shoulders, very connected to wanting to put things in order, wanting to build a structure, a system that will provide us with the safety, the stability that we need to actually move on from our current circumstances, clean up that to-do list, and actually start building. Of course, the Taurus energy is focused on what it is that we're building, what it is we're creating, what it is we're giving birth to here in our physical realms, especially where routines are concerned. We're taking care of ourselves are concerned, where relationships and money matters are concerned. And the moon in Capricorn, very, very focused on what it is that we can do physically in our lives to clean up our circumstances so that we can move onward. So the responsibility that we're currently feeling in life is very high. Many of us, of course, over the last couple of weeks have kind of been pushed into new roles and responsibilities that, karmically speaking, we wish we weren't being pushed into. But this is the level of boss up. This is the level of, karmic leveling up into new soul contracts, into new life lessons that many of us are very hesitant to jump into. So the moon in Capricorn here today, there's 10 different aspects and 10 of them involve this moon. A very, what I would say, inner realm type of day. Why? Because I don't want to use the word emotional. The last thing that I would do in describing the moon in Capricorn is emotional. We tend to want to disconnect from our emotions and use logical, practical mindset to compartmentalize our emotions and to focus on having control over the aspects that we actually have control over, because many of us do not have control over our emotions. But having a moon ruled day means that there's a lot going on in our inner realms. So we start the day off with the moon in Capricorn trining with the sun in Taurus. Again, earth on earth. The moon being our emotions, our unconscious self, our heart space. The sun being our ego identity, where it is that we have to pour our time, energy, and attention into. This is a trine. This is a blending of energy. So we're very much on the same page. We're recognizing that, things have to change, but they're not changing yet. Why? Because we have a mess to clean up. What kind of mess do we have to clean up? Well, take a look at your physical space. Your home, your environment mirrors back to you the way that you're feeling emotionally and mentally in your inner realm. It would be a good idea to get everything in order, to clean up the mess from the projects that have been half-assed and left in the middle of it without seeing a completion point. There is a want, need, and desire to level up in our lives and start building something new, but we can't do that if there is open projects. If there is still remnants from the mess that we have started and created that we have failed to actually see through. So this trine is kind of like an illumination, like, oh, okay, well, I'm ready to, start scratching things off the to-do list. I don't want to think about all the emotions that I don't have control over. So let me pour my time, energy, and attention into cleaning up my physical realm. What do I got to do to take care of me? What do I got to do to take care of my space? What do I got to do to take care of other people? The moon in Capricorn bumps into Mercury in not the nicest way. Mercury also in Tauran energy. So this is another earth on earth type of aspect. The moon bumping into Mercury in this way is really kind of putting us at what I want to say, a crossroads point. The crossroads point happens between the heart and the head because, of course, the moon is the heart, Mercury is the head. The moon is in Capricorn. We don't want to think about our feelings. We'd rather, immerse ourselves in tasks and chores and see, productivity and progress instead of actually think and feel what it is that's going on in our inner realm. And Mercury, being in Taurus, wants us to put the blinders on and focus at one thing at a time. So Mercury being in Taurus is very deliberate, very grounded, very, very, very practical. We're only speaking out on things that actually matter. And right now, there is a dance between long term, which is Capricorn energy, and present moment, which is Tauran energy. So we are going to have this little cha-cha-cha back and forth because the moon in Capricorn doesn't want to get too ahead of ourselves until we clean up the mess of our current circumstances. But Mercury in Taurus wants to focus on what we have to do in the here and now so then we can get to building, we can get to creating the futuristic dream and vision that we're now inspired to bring to life. The moon in Capricorn sextiles Mars, who is in Pisces energy. And this is definitely a positive vibe. This is going to put us in a situation where, yes, our to-do list might be very long. The roles and responsibilities that we have might be very long and daunting. But there are tasks, there are things on our to-do list that we are emotionally motivated and inspired to do. Mars being in Piscean energy wants us to take action, make moves on things that we're actually passionate about, that we feel intensely about. And when I say intensely, that could be both good and bad. Maybe we're excited about something, but maybe we're also angry and frustrated about something that we just want to get done and get off our list so we don't have to think about it, we don't have to talk about it anymore. The option is yours, but the moon sextiling Mars in this way means that we're more apt to go through our to-do list and to pick tasks and chores that at least evoke some kind of energy and emotion from us. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Venus. Venus, of course, in Piscean energy. And the moon bumping into Venus in this way is a good vibe for us because the moon in Capricorn, very down to earth, very logical, very practical. Venus, of course, in Pisces is just floating all over the place in love with love, living up in imaginary land. What this particular aspect is helping us do is to A, come back down to earth just a tad in our dreams and in our visuals that we are definitely leaning more into right now with Venus being in Piscean energy more than anything, but also realizing where boundaries and structures and foundations are needed. We talked about Venus being in Piscean energy, which is in love with love, that loves to romanticize situations, that loves to live in imaginary land, thinking about all the beautiful outcomes. We're very connected to our soul, to our spirit, to our higher selves in Piscean energy. But the problem with Piscean energy is that there is no boundaries. Everything blurs together, everything blends together. And the line between reality and fantasy blurs together as well. So at least the moon in Capricorn is trying to say, okay, it's great that you have those dreams, that you want that fantasy, but why don't you come back down to earth just a tad and realize where it is that you need to be logical and practical in what is actually realistic to come true so that you don't set yourself up for heartbreak, for disappointment, for basically your bubble being burst. The moon goes ahead and bumps into the true node in not the nicest way, but also not a tough aspect either, kind of neutral. The reason why this is important is because midday, the moon in Capricorn bumping into the true node wants to get a little bit ahead of the game here as far as making some plans. Now, the moon in Capricorn, again, wants to focus on the here and now and what it is that we have control over, all kind of in an effort to distract ourselves of what's going on in our inner realms emotionally. And the true node, of course, wants us to think about what it is we want in a futuristic sense so that we can start doing things in the run of our day to start aligning with that vision, with that dream. So there is a certain aspect here where the moon in Capricorn is like, okay, I'm doing what I can do. It is important to realize when you engage the physical body When you engage in tasks and chores that you can kind of go on autopilot with, that's when your higher self is able to actually provide you with a little bit of clarity. And this is very much the energy that I feel is taking over midpoint during the day. Like we're doing something, we're being productive, we're seeing the progress, we're distracting ourselves emotionally. We got this inner dialogue going on of the, to-do list that we got to do. And then snap of the fingers, suddenly we gain just a little bit more insight, a little bit more perspective on what it is that we're building towards. Why are we tackling this to-do list? What are we cleaning up to provide us with a clean slate to actually start building upon? That is this aha moment that kind of gets infused in our mental plane, in our heart space, that gives us a little bit of excitement, a little bit of understanding why the work that we're currently doing in the here and now, which by the way does not feel good, why it is absolutely necessary if we actually want to be living the kind of reality that we're wishing about, that we're dreaming about, that we're praying for. The moon semi-squares Saturn. Saturn rules over Capricorn energy. So anytime that we're kind of interacting with the ruler of the energy, we are feeling a dramatic energy shift. The moon in Capricorn semi-squaring, which is a, semi-tough aspect anyways, with the Lord of Karma, focused on structures and routines and foundations that we have to be concentrating on and building and actually seeing the efforts of our labor in the here and now to actually bridge the gap to where it is that we're at, to where it is that we want to be. Let me just tell you, this is where negative Nancy comes out to play. This is where the weight of the world is actually felt on our shoulders, where we feel overwhelmed with the tasks, with the chores, with the to-do list. This is when we get down on ourselves. Debbie Downer comes out to play. Saturn and this Capricorn energy does tend to live on the negative Nancy side of life. And when we are so consumed with the responsibilities that we have, with the new karmic chapters, the soul contracts that we just got kind of handed to us, it can all feel like a little bit much. And because we are very down to earth with all this earth energy, it can feel like we are suffocating in our own lives that we created with the details and the circumstances of our physical realms. Now, we are going to sit in this for approximately 4-5 hours before we're going to feel another shift. That shift comes around 8:30 p.m. when the moon bumps into Neptune. Now, this is a good energy because it brings our spirit back. It brings our soul back. It brings our intuition back. We're able to connect with our higher selves. We're able to remind ourselves of the dream and the vision that we feel so spiritually inspired to pursue. And this is a good thing because the moon in Capricorn, again, Debbie Downer, negative Nancy, gets a little bit too stuck in this physical realm, forgets about the magic, forgets about the divine script that we're playing out, just forgets about what it is that we are just hammering away in this physical earth in order to bring to life, which is new earth. And for individual purposes, we're all trying to create a new reality. We're all trying to bring more love and peace and harmony, health and wellness into our lives. And when we do that on an individual basis, that energy reverberates over into the collective. And that's how we bring new earth into form for the collective to actually be living. So this little bump in with Neptune is actually a great energy to get our head out of the sand and put our head a little bit back into the clouds. It's not going to last very long though, because the moon is going to go ahead and square Chiron. A square is a tension point. It is a conflict point. Chiron is the wounded healer. And right now, this is when, and again, I preach about this often, every single time we take a step forward, we raise our vibration, we raise our frequency, we start thinking positive, we feel soulfully inspired, that dark force agenda comes out and tries to really just paralyze us in the fear, in the indecision, in the uncertainty, the doubts, the questions that carry the lower vibrational frequencies that keep us stuck in this egoic realm that they want us to stay in. So Chiron, of course, is exposing to us our fears, our doubts, our insecurities. Why? Because those are ego wounds. What if we clean up the to-do list? What if we do all this? What if we boss up to the roles and responsibilities and we still fail? We still are disappointed. What if we put all this effort into building a brand new reality and then we're not happy and it's not what we want? This is when we start, like I said, picking things apart, really, really kind of sitting in those lower vibrational frequencies that the dark force agenda just laughs when we actually set up camp there because they're winning. And this is really when, just a moment ago, we got reminded of the magic that we have to believe in order for our higher selves to continue to inspire us to push forward in the not so nice physical circumstances that we're currently living, for the objective of actually living the kind of reality that we dream and that we pray about. The moon trines Uranus shortly after this bump in with Chiron, and this is a very timely event. First of all, Uranian energy is the great awakener. It opens up our mind. It's like an aha moment. You ever just sit there and suddenly something pops into your mind and you're like, damn, why didn't I see that before? Why didn't I make sense of that? Why didn't I make that connection? Makes so much sense. I see a different perspective now. That is Uranian energy. Uranus rules over our higher level intellect. It's when there's this, cosmic download, if you will, a shift in perspective, this moment of genius that you can't unknow, that suddenly has you looking back with a totally different set of eyes, a different understanding, a different perception. And then that changes and alters your present moment, the way you're thinking, the way you're feeling, and the plans that you now have for yourself moving forward. Again, this couldn't come at a better time because the moon in Capricorn, just kind of brought out the worst in all of us by bumping into that Chiron energy. But the good thing is that out of that conflict, out of that tension, change and transformation happens. And this Uranian energy opens us up to that change. And it makes us much more easily adaptable to the changes, to the perspective, to the emotions that we're now reprocessing, rewriting, and overriding in a lot of ways in order to actually change the way that we look at the past, that we're standing in the present, and that we're planning for the future. We end the day off with the moon in Capricorn, making a very positive, very harmonious aspect with Jupiter, who of course is about growth and expansion, blessings, rewards. He is in this Piscean energy. Again, we're still kind of floating off of this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction that we had last week. And this is really showing us, first of all, spiritually, because even though Capricorns and Capricorn energy will say that they don't believe in spirituality, it's only because they are 100% ruled over by the Lord of Karma. They want to be logical. They want to be practical. They want to be connected to this 3D earth, this 3D realm. But realistically, they got intuition on them like you wouldn't believe. They are so karmically connected to the cosmic realms that they don't even know how connected they actually are. So this is actually a beautiful energy because the moon in Capricorn that is feeling pretty good about the realizations, the productivity that we've been able to accomplish here today, and the ability to avoid a lot of the overwhelming emotions that we have definitely consciously made an effort to avoid in our inner realm. Bumping into Jupiter in this way makes us feel good about what it is we've been able to accomplish, the growth that we've been able to accomplish in our inner realms, in our physical realms, where it is that we are making efforts to improve our current circumstances in order to prepare us to build and create new circumstances and realities for ourselves. And Jupiter, who is a little bit extra, likes to turn up the volume on whatever it is that we're thinking and feeling, is feeling pretty good about the blending of energies between the higher self and the egoic self, the logical, practical, physical ego realm, and the magical, divinely scripted higher self realm. This is a positive spin on allowing the blending of energies from the metaphysical realm, everything outside of this 3D realm, to at least inspire us to do what it is that we have to do in our physical realm, in our physical circumstances, in order to clean up the slate, clean up the stage for this brand new soul contract, this brand new life lesson, this brand new karmic chapter, to actually have a place to not only root in and to be built, but to unfold according to the divine scripted law of nature. And again, we're in Taurus energy, connected to nature, connected to the natural laws, connected to building, creating, and giving birth to a brand new reality.